What you gon' do now? Hope you're ready, cause I'm really about to put it down. Girl, you know that I will never disrespect you. We love tomorrow, but tonight I wanna spank you. That ass down, gotta make it last now. Girl, I'm so, then I'ma beat it up. Hate on me, but no. Try to say stop when the beat say go. There you go again, that voice is watch you make your girlfriend go. Come on, come on, come on. You've been waiting patiently, wondering when and where I be. After causing ruckus in the industry, making this so she can't sleep.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's going on, everybody? Miss Hot Pink, what's going on? Lawrence, what's going on? Hey, don't forget to hit the tip jar, y'all, or the cash app, or the super chat. All right? And we're going to get back into what we started. I can't show it, but I will read it to you, okay? So, we stopped at there. Answer, no. Question, you testified a minute ago that someone knocked and said it was time to go. What did you understand that individual to mean by that? Mr. Canick, objection. The court overruled. It just meant that the keys were ready and that we could go upstairs. Question, the keys for the hotel room? Answer, yes. Question, what, if anything, happened once you were inside the hotel room at the Dolphin Hotel? When we were upstairs, the defendant took his cigar out of his mouth and he had expressed to me that before I can an audition that he needed to come. And by come, what do you mean? He needed to ejaculate. What, if anything, was the defendant carrying when you went into the hotel room? He had a backpack. And what, if anything, did you bring your phone with you to the Dolphin Hotel? I did, yes. What, if anything, did you do? Hold on. Okay. I hate that. Like, whenever you're on a roll and then something happen. What, if anything, did you do with your phone once you were in the hotel room? When I got upstairs, he told me to turn my phone off because people sometimes try to record him. Did you turn your phone off? I did, yes. You said that the defendant said he needed to ejaculate. How did you respond to that? I was against it. What did you say to him? I told him I did not come to please him and that I was coming for an audition. What did he say? And he continued to persist and told me to just... I didn't have to do anything. Just to take off my clothes. How did you respond to that? I then took off my clothes. What happened after that? He then asked me, he persisted to have sex, and I told him that I hadn't shaved. I'm sorry. When you said he persisted to have sex, what do you mean? Like he persisted to continuously try to peer pressure me to have sex with him. And you testified that you said you hadn't shaved. Yes. How did the defendant respond to that? He said even better. What? What, if anything else, did you say? I told him that he persisted again. I told him that he persisted again, and hold on. Hold on, I'm getting a text about something. Hold on, sorry about that. I told him that he persisted again, and I told him that I was sweaty from sports. Wait, you sweaty from sports, so that means that you put on clean clothes on top of being funky. Because as we last remembered, she said that she went to her friend's house to change clothes. So you put clean clothes on top of a dirty body. Even though I hadn't attended sports, and his response to that was that there was a shower in the room. What did you do? I continued to deny and decline, and so he then told me to just walk back and forth. Why did the story sound the same? And asked if he could give me oral sex, and you said that he asked you to walk back and forth. What did you understand the defendant to mean by that? I just thought that would be better than having sex with the defendant. Mr. Canick, objection. Court overruled. Did you then walk back and forth with the defendant? I did, yes. What, if anything, were you wearing at the time? I just had on panties and the bra that I had on. And you mentioned that the defendants also asked you about oral sex. He did. Hold on, y'all. It's something developing right now. Hold on. Oh, jaw. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hold on. It's something developing going on. And you mentioned that the defendant also asked you about oral sex. He did. Do you remember the words and effect that the defendant used? Yes. What did he say? After that, he said before I could sing that he needed to come again, and that if I couldn't have sex with him, to at least just let him lick my butt. And what, if anything, did he promise in return? To allow me to audition and to take care of me for life? He said that if you agreed to that he would take care of you for the rest of your life or for your life. Yes, he did. What did you say? I didn't necessarily care for that. I just wanted to sing. So what happened after that? After that, he then laid down and I got on top of him backwards. And he did lick my butt. What? And he had his backpack beside him and a few iPads that he had taken out. You mentioned that the defendant had some iPads. What, if anything, did you notice about the iPads then? I didn't notice anything because I was backwards. So I couldn't necessarily see what was visible on them. But you saw a defendant remove an iPad or two. Yes, I did. What happened next? There was a knock on the door. What, if anything, did the defendant do when you heard that knock on the door? He got up and he went to the door and he saw it was the officer at the door. And he then told me to go to the washroom and put my clothes on. And he asked me if I was 18. And I said yes. What was the defendant's demeanor when he saw the officers at the hotel room door? He was very anxious and scared. Mr. Canick, objection, court overruled. What led to the conclusion that he was anxious and scared? The witness. Because after he looked through the peephole, he made me go to the restroom immediately and told me to get dressed. And he said, "Are you 18?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Don't lie to me." And I said, "Yes." Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. Hold on for a second. Hold on. All right, I'm back. The court, next question. Did you then go to the restroom and get dressed? I did, yes. And then what did the defendant do? He opened the door and he spoke to them and he was more relaxed. And what, if anything, did you do when the officers were at the door and speaking with the defendant? Once I came out the restroom, I then saw them and they had spoken to me and said they had been looking for me because my parents could not get in touch with me. How did you respond? I told them that I had put my phone in airplane mode. And as I said that, I was turning on my phone. Stop. When you put your phone in airplane mode, you don't need to turn it on. That's all you got to do is hit the airplane mode button and it goes off airplane mode. If you have your phone on airplane mode, you do not need to cut it off and it don't cut off. Because every time I fly, I put myself in airplane mode. And my phone be on the whole time and I be listening to music. So what are you talking about, Azriel? Wow. And as I said that, I was turning my phone on. How you doing, Ms. Albertine? And I then had to call my parents in front of, them and let them know that I was okay. And I also had to show them my ID. And what, if anything, did you say about your age? I did say that I was 18. What, if anything, else did the officer say during that encounter? Basically, after they checked my ID, they left and they had given the defendant a card and said anytime he was in Orlando and needed security to let them know. Stop. If she was 17, they would have said that when they checked her ID. And they would have let him know that. Or they would have asked him the question. Secondly, the parents said they was knocking from door to door looking for her. So now that she's saying that basically they got the ID, they visualized her, she called the parents to let them know that she was all right. Somebody's lying. How can you go knocking from door to door at a hotel and nobody call the police on you, but security go to the room, find out that she's fine, and you leave the hotel without her? If she's underage, if y'all so concerned. This seemed like extortion to me. Because if Journey is at a hotel, or if Kai is at a hotel, and I'm looking for her, and I'm going door to door, but security know where she at. They visualize her, they ID her, and then either one of them call me and tell me that they all right. I'm not leaving that damn hotel without my kids. And I want to see where you at and with whom. Something's not making sense. It was about something's not making sense. She told the cops that she was 18, but her ID, because she said she was 17, right? But her ID should have said 17. In that case, we have a discrepancy. We have a minor, because in Orlando, 18 is legal. But if she was 17, when the police got there, her ID would have said 17. I agree, Netta. I totally agree. What up, Netta? My sister just jumped on here. I'm not understanding something. She said that she told them she was 18. But her ID should have reflected 17 if she was 17. I said it once, I said it again. In order for Lifetime to go through with, hey April, in order for Lifetime to go through with Surviving R. Kelly, guess what? They needed someone to look young. I can show you a picture of Azriel right now and you'll sway me down. She's 16. She's 23. Two things they needed for Surviving R. Kelly to go. A hell of a story, which was given by not the alleged accusers, but by Tamara Simmons. And I have that as well, where she said she coached them for a year. Also, Tamara Simmons also worked the Black Panties tour. Think about it. This tour went from city to city, and only certain people that was cool and signed to the TSB agency is now accusers on Surviving R. Kelly. If this was such a truthful story, why couldn't they get Dominique on season 1? These are questions that nobody sit back and think about. They brought Dominique in season 2 and chopped her story up. Now here's what they're not telling you. They say Joy's supposed to testify next week. They say Dominique's supposed to testify next week. Well, let me knock on the door and let y'all enter something. The prosecution have one more day left of testimonies. 2 more days left. Starting Friday becomes the defense. Next week, you only have 2 days of court, which was Thursday and Friday, because Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is a Jewish holiday. The following week, you have all week, which I will be making my return back to New York. So help me make this make sense. How can Joy and Dominique be testifying against R. Kelly when it's the defense time to present their witnesses? Make this make sense. This is why I tell people, stop listening to them dummy channels. Stop. Because y'all listening to people who's lying. I just heard a lot today. Oh, Levi, Diva Divine, and DanaJay wrote a letter to the judge about a transcript. I wish people stop putting me in places that I don't belong. Now, I didn't write nothing about a transcript. I don't give a hell about you or the transcript. And I want you to know that, Warris. I don't give a hell about you or the transcript. So me writing or penning a letter about you in a transcript, something I didn't do. Don't worry about my moves. I'll never let you know what I'm doing. Ever again. Your privilege to that lifestyle is gone. You should have thought about all the devious stuff you did to me. But this is not about me, so let's get back to it. Basically, after they checked my ID, they left and they had given the defendant a card and said anytime he was in Orlando and needed security to let them know. Question. Now, you said that you showed the officers your identification, your ID. Did you show them your true identification? Yes, it was my driver's license. Stop. If the federal government is asking you, did you show your true identification? They already know and they okay with you having a fake ID. With that being said, and I will pull it up later. With that being said, presentment of false identification. Presentment of false identification reverts to a 5-year felony because you misrepresenting yourself. But I want to stop here because why would you ask, did you show them your true identification? And this is the federal government. She said, yes, it was my driver's license, which lead me to believe that you wasn't 17 when this happened. Which lead me to believe a tie, but right now is not. I'm not doing that right now. She'll get hers. So, which lead me to believe that you wasn't 17 when you showed that ID, because the police officers definitely was obligated and duty to say something. And if they looked at it and saw your picture was you and your age was your correct age, after you done told them that you were 18, that means you lied to a public official. And you can't lie to a public official. Thank you so much, Georgia girl. You cannot lie to a public official. Hold on. Ty, you're a lifesaver. But Ty is a lifesaver. So, if you're going to lie to a public official, hold on. Let me do this. Let me do this real quick, y'all. Because time is of the essence. Hold on. Only thing I can say is that Ty is nothing to play with. And I thank you, Ty. And I thank you. This is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean. Let's download this real quick. What just happened? Okay. Alright, bam. There we go. I ain't know what happened. Kind of scared me. Oh man. Where's the sound? Okay. So it's kind of crazy how I'm back, but I don't know where the sound is at. So I'll do it like this. All right. It's kind of crazy how this stuff is transpiring. What's up, Mike? And this stuff is going on. Big Vi said they changed the time because if the officers let that pass, the prosecution could order the records from the police call to see which officers were sent out and subpoena them and charge with negligence. No, but you can't pick and choose where to charge. Where to change times and all of that. There's no such thing of changing time when you have an officer showing up for somebody that's supposed to be in distress. If that's the case, that whole police department needs to be shut down. There's no such thing of changing time. So she said she showed her correct identification. And then she said, yes, it was my driver's license. And they asked, and based on your identification, how old were you? How old did it show that you were? She said 17 years old. Stop. If that's the case. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about too. If that is the case, I'm going to go here. If that is the case, legal age of consent in Florida have to be 17. And I'm going to tell you why. Because by law, if legal age of consent is 18, they would have had to lock him up. Because no matter how you look at it, they got to follow the law. And their duty and their mandate is to follow the law. No matter what. When you go to the academy for 18 weeks, your legal duty is to follow the law. And anybody that's in distress, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, you have to give them relief. If not, you can lose your job forever and your pension forever, and your commanding officer can lose his job, and the academy head can lose their job. Ain't nobody trying to go through all that. Charlene said she claimed her birthday is in December, so she would not be 23 now. She had to be 18 back then. Exactly, Charlene. And Atlanta is 16. Legal age of consent in Atlanta is 16 years old. Actually, it's 15 and a half. Your legal age of emancipation is 15 and a half. Your legal age of consent to be an adult is 16 here in Atlanta, Georgia. Ms. Wanda said, looked it up. Legal age is 18 in Florida. Well, if that's the case, these officers need to get fired because they didn't do their job. Because if they looked at her ID and her ID had 17, there's no way, there's no way they can follow their job and do it correctly if the legal age is 18. So therefore, she had to be 18 back then, especially if her birthday is in December. Make it make sense. Did the officers then leave? They did, yes. What happened after the officers left? The defendant wanted to proceed because he still needed to come. Wait a minute. Let's go here. Any guy, and I'm about to break the man code. Any guy that have a hard erection, that really want to get some nut out, anytime it's interrupted like that, that erection drops because the blood and the blood vessels in the penile area, it shrinks because of anxiety. Your anxiety take over after that. Now, she said that he was scared. That means he's shrinking up immediately and he's trying to see what's going on. But if he looking through the peephole and he tell her go to the washroom, they can hear that. Don't you think they would have mentioned that or said something about that? Well, who's in the washroom? Who did you tell to go to the water? I've been to the Dolphin. Their walls are paper thin. Their doors are paper thin. They have a one-lock system. So you don't think they could have heard that? And while she's running to go change her clothes and do whatever, he's just sitting there talking. And then she just pops out of nowhere. Oh, ma'am, let me see your ID. Okay, and your ID say 17, but I'm going to exclude it because this is R. Kelly. Get the out of here. It's not making sense. You trying to put a square in a rectangle, and then you trying to put a rectangle in a circle. It's not making sense. But let's finish and see what she said. But like I said, any man that's hard, once you get a traumatic thing like that, you get soft. Even if you want to continue, it's going to take you a minute because your blood vessels don't reverse like that. You got to get stimulated again. And if your clothes are on, since you said that he got stimulated once you took your clothes off, how can he get stimulated that quick once your clothes is back on? It's nothing to stimulate his mind. And then on top of that, let's go here. A quick reversal like that amounts to pre-cum, which means you came prematurely. So it's going to take you a minute, especially if you're not stimulated. I'm sorry, fellas, I had to break the man code for a minute. Now females know when guys don't get stimulated, what the hell going on. So ladies, y'all know what to do after that. Y'all know how to rub. Y'all know how to twist. Y'all know how to get it wet. Let's keep it going. Fellas, y'all know how to concentrate on how good she look, how great it feel, and let it get the motion. All right. Just broke the man code. They said, what happened then? We persisted. Wait a minute, not he. We persisted. And then he made me get back on top of him backwards. And then he ejaculated. No. It don't work that way. We persisted. So at that point, you wanted it. And even if it happened in that way, you took off your clothes and got back on top and then he ejaculated. Girl, stop. It's going to take a minute. You're going to have to play with it. You're going to have to do something. You're going to have to sing on the mic. You have to do something. So they said, and by come, do you mean ejaculate? She said, yes, I do. What happened then? We persisted, and then he made me get back on top of him backwards, and then he ejaculated. What happened after the defendant ejaculated? After he ejaculated, I was able to put back on my clothes, and he did allow me to sing. What did you sing for the defendant? I sung Mama Knows Best by Jessie Day, which was a ballad. How, if at all, did the defendant react after you sung for him? He seemed very impressed, and he said that I had a great voice and that I had a lot of potential. What, if any, future plans did you make with the defendant that evening? He did say that he would like to see me again and teach me a few techniques. You testified earlier that when you saw the defendant perform at the concert in Orlando, he was performing as part of a tour. Did you learn what types of venues the defendant was performing at as part of that tour? Yes. It was stadium shows and a lot of outdoor festivals. And where were those shows? In multiple cities and states throughout the country. Answer, yes. Now, at either the Dolphin Hotel, where you first met the defendant, or in the few days thereafter, what, if any, plans did you make with the defendant? He had to leave, and that once he left, he would want me to come out to the next city that he was in. And did you continue to communicate with him by phone? I did, yes. How? Via text message and phone calls. After you met with the defendant at the Dolphin Hotel, did your mother continue to text the defendant pretending to be you? As far as you know, at least she did not know. Now, in the few days after you met the defendant, do you recall sending the defendant a video? I do. What video did you send the defendant? The defendant had asked me to send a more provocative of a video of me singing in my underwear and bra. And did you do that? I did, yes. Did you? What, if any, other videos did you send the defendant? I sent him videos of me dancing, singing, and more videos of me performing. Did you send the defendant any professional videos of you? I did, yes. What did you send him? I sent him my unreleased single that my parents had paid for, and I had asked him for his input and his opinion. What was the name of the unreleased single that you had sent to him? The single was called Liar Liar. And why did you send it to the defendant? Well, it was going to be my first single release, and I had just got back the final edit, and I genuinely wanted his input. Stop. If you did this back in 2015, right? If anybody can remember correctly, when she cut up the coat, the first single she was talking about dropping was Liar Liar. So if it's already mixed, mastered, and done, how can it be something that you're working on when it was already done? Can somebody help me make sense of this? If you had a song in 2015 that was mixed, mastered, and pressed and done, how can that be you working on a single when you cutting up this coat, which is 5 years later? If anything, you should have just pushed it out. So how can you work on this when it's already mastered then? Okay. Well, okay. And why did you send it to the defendant? Well, it was going to be my first single release, and I had just got back the final edit, and I genuinely wanted his input. You are too comfortable with somebody that you don't know. Not unless you are idolized and stalking the idoler. Meaning, in hood terminology, I'm stalking this nigga and I ain't letting it go. So, question. And who had you said you performed on that video? Is that correct? Answer. It was more like a music video. So it was like me and friends from high school. It was shot professionally. And how did the defendant respond to that video after you sent it to him? He liked it. He said that he did like it, and that it was cute, and that it wasn't, too grown or too sexy, and that he liked it. So let me get this straight. You have a single that's mixed, mastered, pressed, copied, ready to go. You also have a professional video that you have shot, that your parents have paid for, that's pressed, edited, and ready to go. Where's it? Where's it? Why didn't you put it up? That's my question. Why didn't you put it out? And if Rob was really interested in your music, somebody that's a finished product, that's a polished product, that's an easy win for him. He didn't have to do too much. Only thing he had to do is push it through the label, and you pop it. And you can't tell me I'm lying, because when K. Michelle wanted to do her country music, Rob made a phone call, and her album wasn't done. And they said, okay, on the strength of you, we're going to do it. Not unless you lying. And your song wasn't mixed, mastered, and nothing. And the video was shot bootleggish. Then with that, he got to put in work. And if he's traveling, he don't got time to put in work. So if you was polished when you got there, the world would have heard of Azriel Clary or AZ. But the world haven't heard of AZ. Only certain of us know what song that you sung. But then when you start singing stuff to the world start giving critique and saying, nah, you're not ready. So if the world, people who don't have a trained ear, but they know good music, can say that you're not ready, what makes you think what Robert said? Who have a trained ear. That's all. Sometimes we got to make things make sense. So she said he liked it. Okay. Now you said that the defendant proposed seeing you again at another stop on his tour. Is that right? He did, yes. Did the defendant explain to you how you would get to the next stop of his tour? Yes. What did he tell you? He had given me a number, and he told me specifically what to text to that number. And what were you supposed to text to that number? What did he tell you to text to that particular number? He told me to say, Mr. Kelly said to get me to whatever city that he was in at the time. So now you're supposed to be the main entree, and he's telling you to text a certain number. Why couldn't he just tell whoever, okay, send this person, whatever, so that way they can come to the city? It's not making sense. And people running with it to try to vilify Robert. And it's not fair. He told me to say, Mr. Kelly said, okay, I said that. Do you recall the first state that you traveled to see the defendant? I do not. Wait, You can remember everything else, but you can't remember the first state that you traveled to? Can somebody help me with this? You can remember everything else, but you can't remember the first state that you traveled to. No, Jane Doe was not on the Jane Doe number 5 was not on the stand today. I'm lost. If you are so excited, you know what's the first date you went to with Robert Sylvester Kelly. You know. So I'm showing the witness only what's been marked for identification as Government Exhibit 233C. Does reviewing 233C refresh your recollection as to where you first traveled to see the defendant? It does, yes. Oh, now you remember. No problem, Miss CC. You good? What state did you travel to? I traveled to California. And what city in California? Los Angeles. Stop. So you mean to tell me that the first state you traveled to was California with Robert? The first city was Los Angeles. And you can't remember that? But you want to be a superstar. Well, we gonna go on. We gonna go on, right? But I'm gonna play something. What the? Hold on. Let me see what this is. My sis, I'm going to stop here for a second because my sis just uploaded an announcement about Demetrius Smith. So let's hear this announcement. Nothing but bombshells going to go off today because I got an exclusive that's waiting. All right, let's go. So let's hear this announcement. Nothing but bombshells. Hold on. Hold on.
Guys know, really quickly, this is a really quick video. This is not to be drugged out or anything of that nature, but I am going to be reading The Man Behind the Man, which is Demetrius Smith's book about R. Kelly. I'm going to be reading that over again, and I'm going to be reading that on my channel called T Hive Book Club. A lot of people are asking me, where is...
Shout out to Toxic Diamond.
You know, where is the book, The Man Behind
Y'all
the Man?
go like, share, subscribe to my sister channel.
We want to see the words that Demetrius Smith said, this, that, and the other. Guys, I am most definitely going to get that book back in my hands. As a matter of fact, I have unlimited downloads on the Kindle. I can download any book and read it, okay? So we will be reading The Man Behind the Man over again. Out of respect for this man and his work that he put in, and I know I don't respect him, but it is what it is. But out of respect for him and the work he put in, I am going to purchase the book. Once again, I'm going to buy it. The first ones he gave to me. This time I'm going to buy the book. So I'm not going to tell you guys not to buy his book. If you want to buy the book, go ahead, buy it. It's on Amazon. You can keep up with me while we read, okay? Hi, Rhea Bell. Good morning. So we are going to be reading The Man Behind the Man. So here's what happened. The first time I read that book, and again, I was trying to check in my drive to see if I had the reading on my drive. But the first time I read the book, I was in a different place with Demetrius Smith. We were in a place where we were friendly, we were friends, we got along. And now we're in a place where we do not get along. And the last time I was talking to him, I was kind of just surprised. I obviously wasn't right when I called him. So, I mean, I would like to apologize for that, because I wasn't right when I called him, but it is what it is. I definitely have not tried to apologize, and I'm not going to push the issue. But let me see, and I'm looking in my storage right now to see if I have that book. See, I know it's somewhere in my storage, but I probably didn't tag it, and probably should have tagged it. Let me see. I don't even know around what time I read that book. So I would have to probably really go back in my Kelly reading 3. Yeah, so I think it's in here somewhere. Behind the Man. I was in a much different place. Demetrius made a lie up saying that I put my breast on him, which made me look at him differently, because why are you thinking about those type of things in regards to me? So it kind of disgusted me. And I deleted the readings off of YouTube. Now, what's going to happen, because I do have this...
what's up, Jermaine?
I have Jim Derrick is in here, yes. So what's going to happen, because I do have this other channel, T Hive Book, on this backup channel. Make sure you go, because tonight we are doing T Hive movie night. Just make sure that you are tuned in. So doing a lot early update. This is after this trial going down. I'm gonna upload that really, really soon. My link for T. Okay, here it is. But I want to make sure that that I pay for it this time. That would be something involved anyway. When I know that me reading this book, it does pay him. I know that it gives him fame. It connects him to R. Kelly. It helps you guys to know who he is. I don't mind that. I don't mind. I know that it gives him fans, because people still love, R. Kelly, and likewise they love the people that helped him come up or whatever. And Demetrius was definitely one of those people. I don't mind that at all. It's all good, okay? But books like Asante McGee, that type of stuff, those things will be on my Patreon. And if she tries to become a part of my Patreon, I'm gonna kick her ass up out of there. So she'll never be able to know what kind of commentary I'm putting on the book, or read this book. I'm finna to clown you for real. Please make sure you go over to T Hive Book Club. If it's not a new...
Okay. So she's... So she's reading Demetrius Smith's book tonight, or coming up, and she will be giving commentary on it. Okay. Okay. Hold on. See what else came into play. Hold on. Alone. So nah, I don't need a book. But I definitely, matter of fact, Tony, you can send it to my email at bookdanajay@gmail.com. I definitely don't. But So Toxic Diamond will be reading Demetrius Smith book. She got it. That's the announcement, but she haven't. Get it? I'm gonna tell everybody now. I got an exclusive coming to my Patreon. If you really want to hear it, go and subscribe to my Patreon. Because when I leave here today, I will be going to Patreon. And I will be playing the live exclusive. And it's dealing with the R. Kelly case. I ain't going to say too much. But you might want to spend that $10 a month for my Patreon. I'm loading it. It's worth it. Trust me. It's all good. I'll be loading up some paperwork in there today. So, if you want to, it's only one price. It's $10. For the amount of work that's in there now, good God. But, if you want to go to my Patreon, it's https://www.patreon.com/official DanaJay. Just hit the $10 tab. That's the only tab you can hit. Do not steal content. But today or tonight, I will be dropping an exclusive. This will be my first time going live in my Patreon. So I'm learning how to do it. Bear with me. I'm learning how to do it. Alright? Thank y'all so much. So, let's get back to reading. Now, approximately, when did you take this trip? I took this trip on the 28th of April. And was that in 2015? Yes. Excuse me. Were you still finishing your junior year in high school when you took this trip? Yes, I was. Did you take more trips to see the defendant on this tour? Yeah, I did, yes. While you were still in your junior year of high school, generally speaking, what days would you travel to see the defendant? I would usually travel the weekend, but sometimes it would go over and lead into Monday. And would you miss days of school as a result of this? Yes, I would. You testified that the defendant told you to send a text message to someone to arrange travel. Who did you understand? Who do you understand you were sending a text message to? It was an assistant. An assistant who worked for the defendant? Yes. Did you learn her name? Her name was Cheryl Mack. I'm showing the witness only what's been marked for identification as Government Exhibit 38. Do you recognize Government Exhibit 38? I do, yes. What is Government Exhibit 38? That was his assistant in the year 2015. What was her name? Cheryl Mack. Government offers Government Exhibit 38. The court, any objection? Ms. Kennedy, none. I just don't recall. The court, I just don't recall. Did you offer the other exhibit as well? I'm about to. Ms. Geddes says, do you object? Mr. Kennedy, nope. The court, okay. That's in evidence also. Thank you. So what, if any, information did you provide to Cheryl Mack when you first sent her a text message asking to arrange your travel? I said to her the city that I was currently departing from, and I sent her my birth date. And who did you understand would pay for your travel to Los Angeles to see the defendant? The defendant? You testified that you provided your name and your birth date, correct? Yes, I did. Did you provide your true birth date? Yes, I did. Showing that you were 17 years old? Yes, I did. Stop. How did you provide your true birth date, showing that you were 17, when at this time you said Robert didn't even know you were 17 because you didn't tell him? Somebody is lying. The stories are coinciding, but it's farther stretching apart. Okay. Your Honor, may be published to the jury only Government Exhibit 233C, which is now in evidence. The court, yes. Genuinely speaking. Hey, Team Libra, how are you? Genuinely speaking, what is shown in 233C? It is me letting her know what city I am leaving from, which is Orlando, and then me sending her my birthday stating 12/30/1997. Are these text messages that you exchanged with Cheryl Mack? Yes, it is. And what are the dates of the text messages and what are the dates of these text messages? It is April the 28th, 2015. Without reading your name in line 6802, can you read that first line where my pen is pointing, indicating? Yes. Mr. Kelly said to get me to LA, an early flight. My name is Jane. I'm in Orlando, Florida currently. And did Cheryl Mack then arrange for you to travel from Orlando, Florida to Los Angeles the following day? Yes, she did. Let's stop. She lied again. Thank you, Ms. Delva. She lied again. She said she provided her name and her birthday. But the federal government asked her to read line 6802. And she said, Mr. Kelly said to get me to LA, an early flight. My name is Jane. I'm in Orlando, Florida currently. Where's your birth date at? Where's your birth date? I am showing the witness what's been marked for identification as Government Exhibit 217. Do you recognize 217? I do. Ms. Geddes, the government offers 217 if there is no objection. Mr. Koenig, no objection. I just want to make sure. Pause. Mr. Koenig, okay, thank you. The court, all right. That's in evidence. Okay. May be published to the jury only. Yes. What is Government Exhibit 217? It is a flight ticket from Orlando to LA. And is this for a flight on April the 29th of 2015? It is, yes. And is this for yourself? Yes. And was this ticket booked by the defendant, Assistant Cheryl Mack? Yes, it was. Did you see the defendant while you were out there when you arrived in LA, like during that trip? I did, yes. Now, do you remember where you first saw him during the trip? No. So you remember all of that. Thank you so much, Ms. Delvin. And you remember all that, but you don't remember where you seen him at? Yes, if you would like to donate to my Cash App for my trip to New York, you can at $official DanaJay, or you can hit the tip jar that's at the top of the chat box here on YouTube. But for y'all that's on Facebook and everywhere else, if you want to donate, you can via Cash App, and that's $official DanaJay. Okay? So even if you don't remember where you first saw him, where do you recall seeing him while you were in LA? In the hotel and at his shows? Did you attend his show in LA while you were there? I did, yes. And you said you also saw him at the hotel. Yes. What happened at the hotel room where you saw the defendant? He did express that he wanted to teach me a few techniques. However, he needed to ejaculate again before doing anything. And when you say that, he said that he wanted to teach you a few techniques. What type of techniques did you understand him to referring to? Musical techniques to help me better myself as a singer. Yes. What happened after he said that? After he said that, we did the same thing. And he did, in fact, give me a few techniques. And when you said you did the same thing, what are you referring to? oral sex. He needed to ejaculate before anything. Did he give you oral sex? Mr. Canick, objection. Court overruled. I don't remember. Wait. Did he give you oral sex? Then you come back and say, I don't remember. I believe, well, like eating my butt, yes. Hey, Nell. Thank you again, Ms. Delva. I'm lost. Are you saying you don't remember where specifically he gave you oral sex on? On what part of your body? No. I thought you were asking like vaginally. But yes, he did give me oral sex. Your Honor, may we approach briefly, very briefly? Yeah, it's becoming sickening. What's up, Tyon? That's called rimming. The court, sure. Do you need the court reporter? Mr. Canning, hopefully not. The court, well, let's have her come over just in case. Okay. Sidebar held outside the hearing of the jury. The following sidebar took place outside the hearing of the jury. Okay. Mr. Canning, in your honor, I don't understand. I'm objecting to questions that I think are leading. This is a very crucial witness. I think we should be getting her testimony, and the court is overruling those objections. I don't want to continue to object if you're going to overrule them, but I just need to know the rationale. The court, well, my general policy is I don't look back on rulings, but I will surely explain it to you. She said that the same thing happened this time as had happened before, and the follow-up was somewhat misleading, but it was based on her answer that the same thing had happened before, which she had described earlier. So while it was technically leading, it wasn't leading in a way that was unfair. That's the basis for my ruling, and I don't, as a practical matter, I don't understand you to be doing this either. It's that every technical violation requires some kind of curative instruction. This witness is pretty much describing things that happen. If there is real leading, if there is real leading going on, I will sustain it, as I think I've done before. But I think a little bit of leading to move it along when it's already been established what she was talking about is not a problem. So that's what I'm doing. Mr. Canick said, the last question was not the one that I was really bothered by in terms of the court's ruling. It was the question before that. I just think that there's some crucial things in terms of the court. What was this topic? Mr. Canick said, I'm old, Judge. I don't remember the topic. The court, not as old as I am. And I remember the topic. It was describing the nature of the sexual contact, and that's specifically why I didn't sustain the objection, because she had the same thing happen in this instance as happened in Florida. And so that, to me, is not the kind of thing that requires any kind of curative instruction. Mr. Canick, I wouldn't want one. The court, all right, so that's the basis for the rulings, so why don't we move on? Ms. Geddes, okay, just one note along this line. The witness was with the defendant for 5 years. I would like to be able to lead, at least in part, so that we're not here until the end of time. Mr. Canick, just so that we're clear, I don't have any problems with setting time. Leading to set time, but it's just when it comes to details. Ms. Geddes, that's fine. The court, I think we're all on the same page. Obviously, what color was the car? What street did you drive on? Those kinds of things do not do. Mr. Canick, are we going to get through this witness today in terms of your direct? Ms. Geddes, I sure hope so. Mr. Canick, okay, all right. Okay, Thank you, Your Honor. Sidebar is concluded. The court. Okay, next question, please. While you're with the defendant in Los Angeles, what, if anything, else did the defendant describe to you? Pertaining to what? Do you recall the nature of your communication with the defendant while you were with him in Los Angeles, aside from the sexual contact that you just described? Yes. What were they about? Musical conversations. And go ahead. And which he was like teaching me techniques. And what, if any, guidelines did the defendant describe to you about the time that you might spend with the defendant? I don't understand what you're asking me, Ms. Geddes. I don't like to show the witness only what's been marked for identification as 233D. Does reading 233D refresh your recollection about other topics that the defendant raised while you were with him in Los Angeles? It does, yes. What do you recall the defendant telling you? He had mentioned rules. And what did you understand? What are you referring to by rule? It was a protocol. It was a protocol that he went by and rules that I would have to abide by while in his presence. What, if any, rules do you recall the defendant telling you? Based off this piece of evidence, my wardrobe and how I dress. And what did you understand the defendant to be telling you about your wardrobe? I had worn black tights and a brown shirt, and he did not like that. Mr. Koenig, objection. The court overruled. What makes you say that? The witness. Because he had asked me to change, and that was the beginning of the very first rule that he had addressed me about. What did he want you to change into? Did he describe the type of clothes that he preferred you to be wearing? Something that didn't look that loose and baggy, preferably. What, if any, other rules do you recall the defendant sharing with you on that first trip to California? I don't recall any. So you don't recall no rules other than he ain't like the clothes you had on. That's cool. That's cool. They done called the prosecutor to report you and Diva saying selling transcripts. But you didn't get them from Diva. She's on live now. Wow. Her and Sylvia. Wow. Hold on, y'all. I'm going to have to end this live. I got to go take care of this situation. I'll be back in like an hour. I'll be back.